Oh boy. You might have to pinch me here, folks. I think I might just be in a dream. Today, we are going over a very particular idea that I feel like has been discussed a lot by various hockey fans, some to a serious magnitude, most to a not-so-serious magnitude, because this idea is ridiculous. If it were to go down, it would be one of the craziest things we would legitimately see in NHL history. It would be a situation where a player of this status in this age range would have done something that almost nobody has ever done. Spare Eric Lindros, I guess. Because today, we're talking about Connor Bedard. And a hit that Craig Button had on the Donnie and Dolly show from March 18th. So this was about a week ago. And Button is talking about Connor Bedard, he's talking about the Chicago Blackhawks, and he says this. Connor Bedard is eligible to sign a contract extension this coming summer. If I was the agent, I wouldn't be signing Connor Bedard to any extension. Craig Button said on how bad the Blackhawks are and needing to show a path forward to Connor Bedard. This is a pretty crazy idea. And it gets the gears turning if you're a Vancouver Canucks local fan like I am, as to what possibilities could potentially be there. We know Connor Bedard is a North Vancouver homegrown talent that loves the Vancouver Canucks and he grew up cheering for this team. I still stand by the assessment that he is one of our very legitimate stream moderators on this YouTube channel, and he was in our chat participating a few years ago towards the end of his last season with Regina in the WHL. Connor Bedard, ladies and gentlemen, if it were up to Craig Button, Connor Bedard would not be signing an extension with Chicago. To help us out, let's go over onto athlonsports.com, because this is a piece published by Antonio Losada. Connor Bedard urged to avoid a Blackhawks contract extension. This article was from 4 days ago, and it goes over the same Craig Button piece, and it gives a little bit of extra context as to what Button talks about on the video clip. I like it because we can just screenshot it, put it on the screen. I don't have to just regurgitate what it is that Button says. The Chicago Blackhawks are awful, Button said. If I was Bedard's agent, I wouldn't sign him to any extension. There's no benefit to signing early. He'll make the same money if Bedard waits until next July. Plus, waiting opens him up to potential offer sheets. Oh boy. Oh boy. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? The Vancouver Canucks. Pause. Okay, I know what y'all are thinking. Lego, you can't seriously be making a video about the Vancouver Canucks offer sheeting Connor Bedard. You know, I'm not going to say that's definitively what this is. Not 100% what it is, but I think that idea does exist in the subconscious of probably most Canucks fans who stumble upon this Craig Button video clip and hear him talk about, hey, Chicago's been so bad, Connor Bedard has every right to refuse signing an extension right away, and if he wants to wait until the next summer, maybe get tested in the free agent market as a restricted free agent and get some offer sheets tossed his way. Let's scroll down and read some more of what Button ends up talking about. Chicago needs to give evidence to Bedard that a long-term deal is worth it, because right now, there's nothing in that organization that makes you think staying is beneficial. And this, I think, is the dagger when you think about Connor Bedard and his career so far with Chicago. He's a fantastic player. He has been amazing. He's at 56 points in 71 games this year, on pace for 65 points, which admittedly is a decline point per game wise from his season last year where he had 61 points in 68 games. Bedard got off to a really slow start this season. It was kind of tearing me down in my fantasy league. It was really bad. I'm in a keeper league and I took over one of the worst teams in the league last year, and that totally was not a good decision right off the bat. But still, Connor Bedard had a really strong rookie campaign despite the injury. Ultimately, he did fall off a little bit point production-wise this season, but it's not really like the Chicago Blackhawks have been doing much to give him the support he needs to be able to overcome that. Sure, Tyler Bertuzzi and Teravainen and Donato are there, getting points, etc. Sure, Nick Foligno is a great captain and everybody loves him, but man, the Chicago Blackhawks suck. They're so bad, and I don't think anybody's going to go out there and disagree with it at this point in the season. The Chicago Blackhawks spare a few prospects, Frank Nazar and Levshunov, who recently made his debut, spare a few guys like that whom they had drafted recently. There's no hope for the Chicago Blackhawks organization. Not in the short term, in the very least. So, if you're Connor Bedard, and you're like, yeah, I'm a 60, 70-point player at 19 years of age, maybe not a 70-point player this season, maybe in every other season he plays, he's that. 70 points, 80 points, maybe even a 90-point player if he's playing with the right teammates. If Connor Bedard were to look at the Blackhawks organization and say, yeah, if I stuck around here, and I got however much money Chicago's going to give me, they're going to give me as much money as I want because they want to keep their franchise generational superstar on their team. That's obvious. But if Connor Bedard thinks to himself, yeah, if I sacrifice 1 year from 8 years to 7 years, and maybe a little bit off the AAV, whatever, something like that, to go to a team that's a lot more competitive now, if Connor Bedard decides to take an offer sheet next summer, then would Vancouver not be like the perfect destination? I don't know, man. The Vancouver Canucks, they have cap space. They've got $22 million in current cap space and $2.72 in projected. They may not re-sign Brock Besser. Who knows what happens with P.S. Suter? They could be losing out on some guys next year. If the Vancouver Canucks and Patrick Allvin decide, yeah, we're going to keep on doing our cap shenanigans up and down in order to save as much dollars as we can, and that'll bleed into their offseason decisions, who knows if a Connor Bedard offer sheet is even possible here. Now that Craig Button made this TV hit, I think the floodgates have been opened. We are free to discuss Connor Bedard leaving Chicago. And it's crazy because when was the last time you saw a first overall pick who was good? Like, obviously, Connor Bedard is a good player. Maybe not as good as some people thought he would be at this stage of his career, but that's kind of just articulating how hyperbolic some of the expectations were. Oh, people were talking about Bedard being a 100-point player. Could he do that in his first season? Okay, he didn't, but he's so good. When was the last time we saw this talented of a first overall pick, or of an 18 or a 19-year-old guy in general, decide to leave his team? That doesn't happen in the NHL. Maybe Eric Lindros, but that was kind of a different situation because he didn't want to be drafted by Quebec, and he was very public about that. It's not like Connor Bedard has a vendetta against Chicago, although, realistically, come on, he's a Vancouver kid. He might very well have one, who really knows? But if the Blackhawks are so bad, and he decides that he's kind of just not really willing to deal with the rebuild, then honestly, respect to him for choosing a path like that. Obviously, I'm not putting any words in Connor Bedard's mouth or anything, saying that he said something like this. It's just Craig Button suggesting it on the TV. But ultimately, now that it's out there, now that that idea has been proclaimed on the media, I think anything is fair game to talk about at this point, right? So let me know in the comment section below. Firstly, is this idea even worth bringing up? Is it worth it entertaining the thought process of Connor Bedard leaving Chicago via an offer sheet sometime next year? Or do you think it's a lot more of a guarantee that by the time July 1st comes around, Bedard signs an 8-year extension, he gets paid $13 million a year, and he commits the next 8 years of his life to playing in Chicago, where, realistically, they're going to become good someday, but that someday may be far away, and we have really no idea of predicting when it's going to happen. So, is it worth it to talk about this Bedard offer sheet thing? Do you think Vancouver could be coming in there as a bubble team to potentially offer up $14, $15 million a year and offer up multiple first round picks till the end of time to get this guy onto their team? I honestly don't think it'd be that bad of an idea, but still, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.